Hello everyone and welcome back to Sendik's Weather channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the latest from the models for the 12Z suite. We'll take a look at the GFS Ensembles. The ECM ones haven't come out yet and I've better be waiting. It took way too long, 8:45, I need to get this video out. So we'll take a look at the AO and the NAO forecast, the Arctic Oscillation and the North Atlantic Oscillation, and the trends for the next couple of weeks. If you enjoyed today's video, or tonight's video I should say, then please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Some of you might like the developments of some of the models, but not like the ones of the others. Let's start with the AO then. This is the Arctic Oscillation, as I mentioned before, but for anyone new here, if you get the Arctic Oscillation into the negative phase, a negative AO and a negative NAO, it increases the chances of blocking. So blocking is where we have high pressure centered to our north, somewhere in the vicinity of the north, so towards Greenland, Iceland, Scandinavia, and we pull in the winds from an easterly or northeasterly wind, bringing in some colder air. If you have a strongly negative, like the AO is forecast, strongly negative AO, where all the runs go really negative, so we're down to the -4 line, that increases your chances of blocking. However, the NAO is neutral, which is where we're having some issues. If the NAO is neutral, but the AO is positive, weak, strongly negative, then you can have some issues, such as the blocks don't sustain, the Atlantic's allowed to just go woo and run in underneath. This one is very close, as you can see. From about the 16th of Feb, the scatter begins as well. It does start out slightly positive at the moment. From the outside, slightly positive. By the 15th of Feb, the runs start to diverge in the solutions. By the 16th, 17th, it could be a little bit below. Not too much, but it could be above. That is what's going to dictate whether we see blocking to the north or whether we see a flat westerly. Anyway, enough waffle. Let's get on with the charts. Right, yeah, if you do enjoy today's video, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. We are not far off 1,500 subscribers. That's insane. Thank you all very much. So if we can get 100 likes in this video, why not? Go for it. Anyway, we're going to start off with the ECMWF charts. So at the moment, we have high pressure centered towards Scandinavia, bringing in the wind from a chilly easterly wind. Some areas of high ground have seen some snowfall as well today. Lots of areas seen cold rain. 3.4 degrees here at 8, and yeah, it's raining. Anyway, in the next 2 days, through the rest of the week, high pressure begins to migrate northwards to our north and west up towards Greenland, and over the top of the country, keeping it mainly dry. Quite cold, probably a few frosts around. However, the Atlantic goes woo with the ECM, and this massive area of low pressure develops, topples that high, and it tries to rebuild to our north, but the Atlantic's way too powerful, topples it down, and we go back westerly. Bit of a battleground between the colder air to the north. You see a little bit of weak blocking to the north. It's been displaced by the Atlantic. Low pressure's running in from off the Atlantic. Looks mild, wet, and windy. Actually very mild, with the 5-degree ice firm reaching the far south. Probably bringing the temperatures into the low teens, possibly, with that. Might feel like spring. Let's move on to the GFS then. This has been the interesting one today. The 6Z, take a quick look at the 6Z, very quickly. Again, we get the high pressure slightly further northwards. The Atlantic's less powerful, is held at bay. The high pressure remains to our north and west. We actually bring in some very cold air from the east for a time. The -10 line, obviously not a great block, but again, it's just the signal we want. Will this high pressure stick around? -10 line, we bring some really cold air in from the east there. The -10 line moving into the southeast, probably a few wintry showers in the east and south and southeast there. Before it gets cleared away, but that was an interesting signal. Now with the 12Z, it's not too bad actually. It has high pressure moving much further northwards, sustains the high pressure to our north, but then eventually does topple in the longer term. We bring in the wind from a southeasterly by the beginning of next week, but it's not exactly a very particularly cold southeasterly. The cold air's kind of not there to drag in from the southeast. It's kind of a bit of a tough situation. We do get colder air masses in at times, as you can see, with that high pressure moving to our west. It's not far enough west, though, to allow that really cold air in. High pressure does sustain towards Greenland, however, the Atlantic does return eventually in the longer term, bringing very unsettled and stormy weather in. Probably quite cold zonality as well, with winds in from the north often, but again, not really what you want. The GEM next then is high pressure centred to our north and west. Proper block towards Greenland. The Atlantic is allowed to undercut it. Hello, Atlantic. Zooming in and bringing back the mild weather again. It's pretty marginal between the cold air to our north. See a little weak area of high pressure to our north and west, and low pressure to our east. Bit of a battleground scenario. Again, we're bringing the wind from a chilly easterly, not exactly cold, but chilly easterly. Probably feeling a little bit seasonal with that one. Probably a little feeling quite cold actually through the days. The UK Met next. How's about that? The UK Met was showing some interesting charts yesterday. How about today? It's not far off. Winds in from the east-southeast, cold air into the north of Scotland, the -5 line in. However, the rest of the country is in a bit of a battle, then eventually brings in some very mild air from the southwest, with winds in from southwest. Mild conditions expected, wet and windy in the north and the west there by next Monday, the 17th. But again, this block quickly weakens. It doesn't stay around for long enough. The Atlantic topples it away and goes bye-bye Greenland high, and we go back to mild winds. Now, I did want to show this. Don't like showing this because it's unrealistic. The CFS, this is an experimental model which can't forecast snow ever. But this is what you can get if we get a proper block. So with the CFS, high pressure moves out to OS now. Get your eyes peeled on this one if you want cold. This is what the CFS is showing. Imagine the CFS is the one that's right all along. Look, so it pushes the high out to the west, sustaining that block and getting rid of the low pressure in the Atlantic. Brings in some really cold air from the east for a time and sustains the block. A bit of a battleground, but it wins out. Look at the cold air in place over the UK. -10 isotherm from a brief easterly. Low pressure sinking southwards, keeping the cold air in, bringing in some snow events for central and northern Britain there by the 19th of Feb. That block does dissipate very quickly, but again, interested to see that block setting up. If we get the block in place, we will see interesting things develop, but it's about getting that block in place. Whether we see it remains to be seen. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty, but signs don't look great. I just want to show that that's what you want. A proper block in the Atlantic, blocking off any lows from Greenland and Iceland, or the Atlantic, I should say. Keeping them out at bay, that block's strong enough to keep them away for at least for a little bit. And then you could get Atlantic trying to break through, and we could get interest with snow events. Then the JMA, which a lot of people don't like, has the high pressure over the top of the country. Ridging northwards, that looks like it's poised to bring in some cold air from the east as well. The JMA looks really solid, and it has been quite solid. Now, if we have a look at the GFS ensembles, they are better. There's a much better signal for a drop in the upper air temperatures for a time between the 16th and the 18th of Feb. Again, after that, lots of scatter, not taking out past day 5, day 6 with any sort of certainty because there's so much variation. Look on the 16th. Massive scatter. Some runs going to 5 degrees, like this outlier here. Some going down to -10, -15. Look at this run at the bottom. Look at this run here. Let's have a look at this one then, everyone. This run is an extreme run. Proper block towards Scandinavia and Greenland. Get this one going. Bitterly cold easterly winds. And I mean, wow, that's just the beast. That is literally a beast from the east. Yeah, that'd be lovely, wouldn't it? For some of us. Some of us wouldn't like it, but that would be great to forecast that, wouldn't it? Proper block, that's what we want. Proper block to the north and west. It's probably unlikely to happen, but again, interesting to see. Look at that. Bitterly cold air from the east. Beast from the east. I mean, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? But yeah, most likely we're going to go Atlantic driven, but never say never, never say never. There's been some interesting signs today, but we're basically none the wiser with what's going to happen. However, I would say that the chance of cold weather, I'm still going to keep there because I just think it is. Let me know what you think in the comments, though. Thank you all for tuning in. Do probably think the Atlantic's going to win out because it always does, but there's always that time when it's not going to. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye, everyone.